Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the St. Charles County Council meeting for April 24th. To do our invocation from Bible Baptist in St. Charles is Pastor Brad Harris, and Councilman Terry Hollander is going to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. If you would stand and remove your caps, please.
Let's pray together, may we? Lord, may we just pause and again thank Thee for the freedom we enjoy in the country we love. I thank You for those who have given their time to be here this evening to discuss the issues of our county. I pray that You bless them, give them wisdom. May we just understand our important role as a citizen to do our best for each other. I pray again that You just be with each and every one in this room this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Joe Cronin.
Here.
Councilmember Joe Brazel. Councilmember Dave Hammond.
Here.
Councilmember Mike Elam.
Here.
Councilmember Terry Hollander.
Here.
Councilmember Mike Klinghammer. Here. Councilmember John White.
Here.
We have a public presentation tonight. Scott Drochnik is here from Workforce Development. Mr. Drochnik, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you so much. Scott Drochnik, Director of St. Charles County Workforce Business Development and Executive Director of the Missouri Job Center, St. Charles County. Let me first off just by recognizing the birthday that we have today with our County Council President. So happy birthday, Mike.
Thanks for getting that out of the way right up front. I appreciate that.
Well, this resolution dates back to about the time you were born, so I figured there was a good...
The 1800s? That's great.
1865. Oh, all right.
We're going to sing.
Okay. Off-key maybe, but we'll do our
And
best.
that's when it went off the rails, Your Honor. So there you go.
And thanks for joining us tonight at the St. Charles County Council. Well, for more than 50 years, there has been a proclamation from the U.S. President on out for National Small Business Week, and we are at that point of the year again. It's going to be next week, as a matter of fact. And so in St. Charles County, we're pleased to have about 75% of all of our businesses to be considered small business, meaning 25 employees or less. And of course, the folks that are the czars when it comes to working with small business are the EDC, Community Business and Partnership, that we've long had a great relationship with as a county. And because of their incubator, we were trying to figure out who to recognize this year. And as so many folks are talking about manufacturing, because manufacturing continues to be alive and well in St. Charles County, and STEM and interactivity and getting people plugged into making things and seeing that technology is cool, it came to mind that Inventor Forge, one of the newest tenants at the incubator, would be a great group to recognize and to honor for National Small Business Week. With that said, I'm going to introduce for a brief introduction Mr. Craig Fromm. He's the incubator manager and the CFO of the EDC. He's going to chat for a second about what they're doing and actually introduce Inventor Forge to talk a little more.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. Inventor Forge moved into our building about 2 months ago. They're in the process right now of moving equipment in. And how this started was Christine Zika and Greg Prestman thought it would be a good idea to have an inventors group in our facility. They already have a place in St. Charles County, but we wanted them in our facility because they bring in a lot of inventors into our facility. And we looked at it as a possibility of those people who are inventing would possibly start a business in our facility, and we could help them in that regards. How we got this funded was through the Missouri Technology Corporation. We put in for a grant there, and they gave us $98,000, basically to buy equipment and to do the our first year's worth of rent. I'm going to introduce the two gentlemen that are with Inventor Forge, and they can tell you a little bit about what Inventor Forge is, a little more detail. Again, I'm the CFO, incubator manager out at the Economic Development Center, and I really appreciate what Scott said about how we're the czars. I owe him. Anyway, George Fetter and Larry Brown are the two gentlemen that are kind of heading up the Inventor Forge group. And they're going to tell you a little more about what they do. Also, I wanted you to know there's probably about 45 to 50 people watching it just because they're coming to the podium tonight's. Double our audience. So George, why don't you tell them a little bit about what you guys do?
Hi, we're a makerspace. Basically, we're a creative, collaborative environment where people can get together, they come with their ideas, and they work with a community of other people that all have similar interests. They can share what they learn, and they learn from each other, and they share those ideas amongst each other. So it basically makes the community stronger, and they come up with better ideas and better things out of it. So we haven't been around that long. We've been around about 9 months in a brick and mortar location. Really been around about a year total, so we haven't been out there that long. And these guys are they're incredible. They come in and they bring their ideas, they bounce it off each other, and they come up with so much so much better ideas out of it. And it's really an impressive thing to see. You have to come by and see us sometime. So, you have any questions?
Larry, did you want to add anything to that? That's all good?
They're engineers, just so you know.
Gentlemen, congratulations. Thank you. If you think of any creative ideas how we can make government better, there's your proclamation, and congratulations, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. That's it.
He adds a little something.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you, gentlemen. Scott, thanks very much for bringing them to our attention. We appreciate that. We'll move on to our public hearing on traffic regulations. So if you would like to speak on any of the traffic regulations that we have, the stop sign request, the no parking requests that are there, we'll open the floor for someone to come speak on that.
I have two cards. First one would be Michelle Jones.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, good evening. Hi, my name is Michelle Jones, and one of the petitions that was brought to you guys was to put stop signs down our street. We live in Addiston Place, which is off Cox Hill. The street is Mason Grove Drive. So the petition that we became aware of was to put no parking at the top of the subdivision on the north and south side of the street, and then for the remainder of the south side all the way to the end of the subdivision. We have small children and we live off this main drive, and we feel like if there's no parking allowed on the south side, it would give people, and I know nobody speeds, but it'll give them the right of passage maybe to just, you know, speed up our hill and our road faster than what they already do. So if cars are parked there, it kind of deters them and makes them more aware. So they have to slow down to be able to go up the street. One of the other things is that one section, it's 3 houses, but there's a court, and it's also part of Mason Grove, and a lot of people park in there if there's parties or what have you. So if you put the no parking on the south side of the street, nobody would be able to park in that court as well. So while we agree that on the top part of the subdivision, because when you pull in, the road actually turns, if there's no parking on both sides, that would be beneficial, because when people park up there, you can't see coming around the corner. And if you're coming around the corner and down a hill, you can't see the people coming up the road. So we're just asking that you take that into consideration and allow people to park on both sides. And it's not common that a lot of people park on the south side of the street, because typically when you're going down the street, you'll more apt to stop, as opposed to, you know, when you're coming up, you don't turn around to park in front of someone's house. So that's all that we would ask.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then I have Rodney McCann.
How y'all doing?
Hey, Rodney.
Thank you for the time. I appreciate it. I too live on, I'm Rod McCann. I live at 1347 Mason Grove Drive on the south side. Regarding the no parking, I also agree. In the front of our entrance, it is really narrow when people are coming in and coming out. There should be something handled regarding that area. But as my understanding is, the purpose of this is to be for the safety of the neighborhood's children, for issues of speeding and slowing traffic down. If you move parking to one side of the street, as was mentioned earlier, people would seem to exceed the speed limit even more so than they do, because there's people in the back of the neighborhood that expedite their driving through there. And actually, by having both sides parking, it slows down traffic when there is that there, because people slow down to let people go and go through there. I think there would be better ways of handling the safety if you wanted to slow it down, maybe look at speed bumps or doing something different. I too agree that if you just put parking on one side, you may have people speeding up and just shooting that stretch. With the indicated with the sidewalk would be the no parking side. And then the children on the opposite side, there's going to be double the cars when they do park there. I think that would make it more of a hazard for those kids to be going out within the street. I do not have any children. I've lived in there for 10 years. It is a young neighborhood. A lot of young children drive slow, very cognizant of that. And watching the traffic coming through, times they just do drive too fast. I don't know if there's other ways to slow that down, but I do not feel that the parking will do that. And I think it's an issue that probably should be handled within the neighborhood itself, as opposed to adding additional regulation that the neighborhood should. It was kind of pushed through with a lot of conversation. We're in a neighborhood that had multiple builders on it, and so within the last year, we finally took over after about 13 years of being a subdivision, taking over of handling the neighborhood association. So there's not a lot of communication that really, I think, took place, and it should be maybe placed back into there, because it is limited to Mason Grove Drive and not the other streets that are within the back. It'll make an inconvenience, and I also think that it may impact values of those houses on Mason Grove Drive. I've noticed within the last 2 months, we've had 3 or more houses on that south side go up for sale, and 2 have been sold, and there's a couple of them that are recently placed up there. I myself and another person here, we're right down at the bottom of the hill where it curves and slows down. Well, they should slow down, but they come flying through there, because between the 2 of our houses, we cover, I think, about an equivalence to what, about 4 or 5 lots, you say? And there's nobody parking on that side, which would then, may move it. But this is where they really fly through the neighborhood. I think there's other ways of slowing that down. Just appreciate the time here to save it. And as I said, I think the intention is good. Safety of our children is number one. But I also look at we're young at handling the association. It should be tossed back into there in consideration on that. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else to speak on traffic regulations?
I have
No.
no more cards.
Okay, so with that, we'll close the public hearing on there, and we'll move on to public comments.
We have Arnie Dienoff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the County Council. Arnie A.C. Dienoff, public advocate and county resident. This morning was a monument in St. Charles County in the state of Missouri. We now have a new statewide network transportation legislation, House Bill 130. This was signed by my friend Governor Eric Greitens this morning at the community college campus at 11 o'clock a.m. It's a great bill. It's a lot better than the county council proposed a few weeks ago. The law goes into effect immediately, and it protects everybody across the state without any fees and any tax increase, which are passed on to the consumers, our residents of St. Charles County. The county and Mr. Elam, the chairman of county council's proposal, as its sponsor, would have called for an election in August when absolutely nothing else was on the ballot. Taxpayers would have had been charged at least $700,000 from the election authority to hold an election for one issue and one issue only. This legislation would have been overburdensome in its regulations to network transportation companies and taxis within the county. It would have called for more taxes and more fees that are unnecessarily placed on the transportation companies in St. Charles County in a free open market to spur economic development and be a convenience to our 400,000 residents. Our transportation issues. We have a great transportation plan in St. Charles County with a half-cent sales tax. I was very concerned this morning hearing KMOX and our county executive, Steve Ellman. I'm highly opposed to the county executive's proposal to, 1, raise the gas tax in St. Charles County and Missouri 2 cents per gallon. It's unnecessary when all you do is have to make sure that you're using the money wisely contingently and transparently. 2, Mr. Ellman calls for a toll authority and a toll road beginning past Wentzville. These are ridiculous establishments and ridiculous proponent of new taxes in St. Charles County. We're conservatives. We need to hold the line on taxes. We are taxed enough. The state and county need to live within our own current means and our own current income ways. The way the county is going, we may exceed the highest sales tax county in the nation. When you add the possibility of the seniors tax coming back up for a vote, which is possible, the zoo tax, public safety tax, 911 service tax that the county executive wants you to pass, we're going to be the highest taxing county in the nation in terms of sales tax. They're all good proposals, but we'll be in trouble in terms of economic development, sending residents to shop in less taxing jurisdictions like St. Louis County or Franklin County. Bill number 4459 is sponsored by Mike Klinghammer. And
Thank you, Mr. Dienoff. Your time has expired.
No surprises.
Thank you, Mr. Dienoff. Your time has expired.
Thank you for cutting me off and being disrespectful.
That alarm means that your time has expired, sir. I appreciate that. If you'll have a seat, we'll move on. Oral report from the county executive.
No, sir.
Thank you. We'll move on to our consent agenda. Any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Move to accept.
Second.
We have a motion to accept and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Consent agenda is approved. We'll move on to bills for final passage. Bill number 4459.
Bill number 4459, an ordinance amending ordinance number 16-100 requiring that, with certain designated exceptions, bills which have been substantially amended after introduction and prior to final passage be placed on the next duly scheduled council meeting agenda.
Any questions or comments about this bill? Seeing none?
An ordinance amending ordinance number 16-100 requiring that, with certain designated exceptions, bills which have been substantially amended after introduction and prior to final passage be placed on the next duly scheduled council meeting agenda. Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Bill number 4459 passes. On to bill number 4460.
Bill number 4460, an ordinance authorizing execution of a road relinquishment agreement between the county and the city of St. Peters for an exchange of excess right-of-way parcels related to the Pinewood subdivision drainage improvements and the Salt River Road extension project.
Any questions or comments about this bill? Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
An ordinance authorizing execution of a road relinquishment agreement between the county and the city of St. Peters for exchange of excess right-of-way parcels related to the Pinewoods subdivision drainage improvements and the Salt River Road extension project. Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember White? Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Bill number 4460 passes. On to bill number 4461.
Bill number 4461, an ordinance approving an intergovernmental agreement with the Missouri Secretary of State for a grant awarded to the Director of Elections and amending the 2017 budget adopted as Ordinance 16-104 by making supplemental appropriations to the Election Authority Fund in the amount of $65,636 for an election efficiency grant to assist with election activities, systems and equipment maintenance, voting equipment purchases, maintaining voter lists, and polling place accessibility.
Any questions or comments about 4461? Seeing none?
An ordinance approving an intergovernmental agreement with the Missouri Secretary of State for a grant awarded to the Director of Elections and amending the 2017 budget adopted as Ordinance 16-104 by making supplemental appropriations to the Election Authority Fund in the amount of $65,636 for an election efficiency grant to assist with election activities, systems and equipment maintenance, voting equipment purchases, maintaining voter lists, and polling place accessibility. Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Bill number 4461 passes. On to bill number 4462.
Bill number 4462, an ordinance waiving liquor license fees for certain concessions operations of the Parks and Recreation Department of the City of St. Charles for the period July 1, 2017 through June 30, 2018.
Questions or comments on 4462? Seeing none?
An ordinance waiving liquor license fees for certain concessions operations of the Parks and Recreation Department of the City of St. Charles for the period July 1, 2017 through June 30, 2018. Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes. Bill 4462 passes. On to Bill 4463.
Bill number 4463, an ordinance to establish a retirement plan advisory committee for management of the county 401A defined contribution and 457 deferred compensation plans.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none?
An ordinance to establish a retirement plan advisory committee for management of the county 401A defined contribution and 457 deferred compensation plans. Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Bill number 4463 passes. On to Bill 4464.
Bill number 4464, an ordinance amending ordinance section 115.710 of the ordinances of St. Charles County, Missouri, OSCCMO, relating to the classification plan in the Personnel Administration Plan for St. Charles County.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none?
An ordinance amending ordinance section 115.710 of the ordinances of St. Charles County, Missouri, OSCCMO, relating to the classification plan in the Personnel Administration Plan for St. Charles County. Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes. Bill number 4464 passes. That includes bill for final passage, concludes that, and we'll move on to bills for introduction, starting with Bill 4466.
Bill number 4466, requested by Scott Drochnik, sponsored by council as a whole, an ordinance authorizing the county executive or his designee to execute two intergovernmental agreements with the Missouri Department of Economic Development Division of Workforce Development and the St. Charles County Department of Workforce and Business Development related to the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act PY16 and PY17 annual agreements.
Any questions or comments about this bill? Seeing none, we'll move on to Bill 4467.
Bill number 4467, requested by Larry Crawford, sponsored by Mike Elam, an ordinance authorizing the county executive or his designee to execute an agreement with the United States Marshals Service, a department within the United States Department of Justice, for housing federal prisoners/inmates in the St. Charles County Department of Corrections.
Any questions or comments about this bill? Seeing none, that concludes bills for introduction. On the tabled bills, I would like to make a motion that we remove bill number 4465. Actually, I'd like to pull it back completely,
To withdraw it?
to withdraw the bill.
Okay, that takes you to do it.
So I would make the motion and ask for 3 additional.
We concur. I concur.
I concur.
I concur.
So the bill is now withdrawn, and thank goodness for the legislature. They got that done today. The governor was here and signed it. It was a great day in St. Charles County. It was a great day for the community college because we were highlighted all over the state of Missouri today. And it was great to have the community college in the spotlight. It was nice of the governor to be here. The county executive got a new position for a little bit, but then that got fixed with his title, so that was fun.
Fun for you.
What's that?
Fun for you.
It was fun for me.
We got a spot for you right down here, Steve.
Because I was sitting next to him. He was a councilman for a little bit, but then that was quickly corrected. So that was a good time. In terms of announcements, I know Mr. Cronin has an announcement to make.
Yes. Last week, there was a senseless, horrible tragedy in St. Louis with 2 Laclede gas workers got brutally slain. One of those young men I happen to know pretty well. He was a member of the community, small community I live in. He was a member of a respected farm family out there. I knew him from he was a small boy. He went to grade school for 8 years with my daughter. He's a fine young man, and he's dead. He left behind a wife and a 5-month-old baby. And all locations of the Bank of Old Monroe are accepting donations for that baby's behalf. And Bank of Old Monroe has many locations in St. Louis and Lincoln County. Additionally, United Way, at stlunitedway.org/Laclede Gas is collecting donations for the benefit of both of those workers. So I'd ask you folks to consider helping anybody here that the families of those folks and say a prayer for their souls. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cronin. Any other announcements? Donna, did you have an announcement about Siteman?
That there is
The ribbon cutting, I believe, is this Thursday.
from 6 to 8
So there's a ribbon cutting from 4 to 6 at Siteman Cancer Center. They have redone the expansion there. I know the doors open at 4. I think they have speakers starting at 5, and that'll come. So that's open to the public. If you're not familiar, Siteman has more than doubled their footprint on that campus. So that's going to allow a lot more patients to be treated there. They're going to add some new equipment in there. So it's really a great day, and another great celebration for the county of having some world-class medical care here that you don't have to leave St. Charles County for. So that's very nice. Anything else? Then I would move for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
I concur.